Well, good morning. Good early morning for some of you. Um, this case is too twisted for the internet, and it's not just because the evidence is overwhelmingly against Lindsay, and it is. There's no denying she killed her children. It's watching what the internet does. I cannot believe there are people that are still saying that Patrick killed his children and pushed her out the window. You must be kidding me. He is a dad that lost his whole family, his 3 children, his wife, and we have comment sections full of man haters, if you want to know the truth, that just want to ignore the actual evidence. It's crazy. Incompetent doctors, uneducated doctors. There's like a lot to process, and none of this is a good situation. None of it's a good situation. I'm loving our early morning chats. Woo! What a good way to blow off some steam. Are you guys liking the early morning chat to recap the trial? I heard a little rumor that today might be the last day. Let's take a second and tell everybody good morning. All right, let me look at the poll. I said, how would you vote if you were a juror and you're sitting in the bleachers of the courtroom? How would you vote? 29% of you said first degree. She's guilty. Put her in jail. She'll be in a medical unit. She'll still get her help. She just won't be as comfy. 47% said she is not guilty due to insanity, so she needs to go to an institution. 27% of you said just to acquit her. I am loving this. Wow. Audrey, is that Nature Babe? Boy, I tell you what, I have missed you. Glad you're here. I think we've all struggled with postpartum one way or another. Whether it's feeling a little down in the dumps. However, psychosis is totally different, and that's what she had. Confusing as all get out to me, because I thought the psychosis portion of it would be easy to treat with all of this thrown at her. So the question's going to be for the jury. What accountability does Lindsay Clancy have? What could it be? I will tell you right now, these 2 goofballs that the state of Massachusetts thought would be great to try this case, nah. They are not liked. No one is going, good job, prosecution, way to go. They are mean to relatives. They have not brought up any of their own expert witnesses. The only people they're using are people that Lindsay saw. They haven't even brought up her OBGYN, the one that delivered their 3rd child. I don't know what they're doing except for trying to lose. All right, so K-Red, Shredder, Big Red, whatever you want to call him, Kevin Reddington says he might rest today.
Who are you going to call to the witness stand?
Finish up with Dr. Zeisel and then Dr. Spinelli, and then we'll have our hearing on whether or not the young lady from McLean Hospital testifies, and That'll probably run us.
Okay, did anyone see the testimony by the TikTok lady that used to work for McLean Hospital? She didn't do the case any good. She was cocky. She was arrogant. You could tell she was there for herself. So I'm glad that the judge gave her a voir dire, as in, we don't need you. You're not helping anything. You're basically an internet troll that got invited to court to give your opinion, and it's just not working. I just thought she was kind of rude. Audrey, we have missed you so much. Audrey, what time is it where you're at? I thought you were on the West Coast for some reason.
It's into the afternoon, and then tomorrow I may rest.
One more thing, though. I have to ask you about this. The mortal sin question. What was your reaction?
Everybody has their own style. I don't criticize other.
Say, who are
So we're going to talk about that, okay? Because the prosecution attacked Patrick Clancy's mother and said, "You're Catholic, aren't you?" And she nodded her head. "Yes, I practice Catholicism. I am a practicing Catholic." So murder is a mortal sin. Well, that wasn't a good look at all. No, it wasn't. So we're just going to recap the last couple of days, and let's start with this. This is a man that has been treating Lindsay since the murders of her children. And yes, it is murder. It is. She 100% strangled her children. I mean, there's no denying that at all. He's been treating her since and is trying to explain psychosis to a lame brain like me.
Intrusive thoughts continuing regarding voices in her head that she heard constantly.
Yes.
What were these voices saying to her?
They were getting worse, and they were telling her to kill herself.
And as January continued, she was, to your knowledge, using her computer to look up drugs and interactions and side effects and things of that nature.
Yes.
If a person is in a psychosis, or as I think you said, premorbidly psychosis, are they able to do things like look up things on a computer?
Yes.
And
as a woman, as a mother, as a grandmother, this would be quite a challenging trial for me to be a juror for lots of reasons. For one, she killed her children. Okay, she did. I'm not going to be one of the people that celebrates her. I'm just not. Whoever wants to celebrate her, we can still be friends. I don't care. I do acknowledge that postpartum psychosis is extremely serious. And the fact that all three of her children are no longer amongst the living is horrifying to me. What I don't like with some of these Facebook comments is if you grieve for these children, they think there's something wrong with you. They think there is something wrong with you. I want to know why the war chest became psychiatrists as opposed to the OBGYN that took care of her for 9 months and delivered Callan. Why did we go straight to psychiatrists before it was time to go back to work? And there's more than one. There's many. I'm just going to go have to assume that there's a referral there. I don't know. I mean, it's a tragedy that can't be excused. It just can't. And man, Zuckerberg and the rest, they got the bots working overtime to convince people that she didn't do anything wrong. She had more help than I could even imagine. Her in-laws, her husband worked from home, her parents, they had a nanny that was there throughout the week. People taking her to these different appointments. Most of the appointments were, through the computer. That in itself doesn't equate first-degree murder.
You aware that she actually at one point looked up, can you cure, I think a sociopath or a psychopath or something like that?
It was sociopath, yes.
Is that indicative of her feeling that she is a homicidal maniac and has to have some help? Or is that in the same time frame that she was Googling all of the effects of medications on a human being?
Is it an objection?
Yes.
Yeah, sustained.
So during the period that she was Googling, well, let me ask you, what was she Googling?
Googling words about sociopaths, sociopathy. Can you treat a sociopath? What are hallucinations?
What else?
Bear with me one moment, if you don't mind.
Well, you had a chance. Did you look at the Google searches that she?
When I picture Colonel Mustard from the game of Clue, I see this guy for some reason. He has spent more time with Lindsay since the children were murdered than her own doctors did. He sits with her. He talks to her. He knows what's going on. And as far as her Googling the medical interactions, people go, oh my God, she was a nurse. It doesn't mean she knows that much about pharmacology.
He had done that's in evidence and the jurors were able to look at it.
Yes.
Did she continue to Google the effects of medication, psychosis, numbness, heaviness, unable to, things like that?
Yes. All things that are related to the way
And if
she
a
was
person
feeling.
is in a psychotic state, are they able to continue to Google and use a computer to look things up?
Yes.
They're able to use a phone?
Yes. People who are in that state can do things they've done before. New tasks may be difficult, like changing the tire. But if you looked up things on the internet, you can look them up again. If you drove a car.
Okay, I'm still interested in the poll, so I'm going to leave it up. Now I'm going to do an unofficial poll and ask you guys to discuss amongst yourselves. What is the difference between a man that kills his children due to mental illness and a woman? Because we know old Chad Dorman, he's underneath the jail in Ohio after a severe break with reality with PTSD, and he hunted down his kids and killed them. Travis Decker, and by the way, I did not give him too much leeway. When he picked up his 3 girls, killed them all, and then he was found weeks later. So she has a mental break. Postpartum psychosis, they say. Which I don't know if they can diagnose that right now because she's obviously not in psychosis. So what is the difference between a man having a mental break and killing his children and a woman? Because everything I'm looking at right now shows she's probably, I'm going to go ahead and say not her. Her attorney's probably going to win this.
Can drive a car.
Now, the morning of January 24th, I believe she went somewhere. Is that right?
Yes.
Where'd she go?
She's taken her daughter to a pediatrician, a standing pediatrician appointment.
And is it your understanding, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty, that a person who's in a psychotic state is able to drive a car for a short distance, go to an appointment, and interact and talk to people?
Yes, they can do everyday tasks of living.
So the fact that she's not talking about...
Interesting. Zesty Kane said the difference between a husband offender and a wife offender is the element of coercive control. However, the coercive control supposedly is their mind. So what is the difference between a man going crazy, crazy and a woman going crazy, crazy? We'll talk about coercive control because I got a show for you guys. And I can't wait for you all to watch it.
The unicorn's in the corner, and she's not slurring her speech, and she's not unable to walk, to your opinion, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Does that mean that she's not in a psychotic state?
It does not.
Would you tell us, after she took Cora to the doctors, and the jurors have had a chance to look at the exhibits, there's photographs between her and her husband, Pat, back and forth. In the afternoon, what did she do?
She built a snowman in the backyard with two of her kids.
Later in that day, Google directions to a restaurant, 3B restaurant, I believe?
Yes.
Is that something that a person can do when they're in that type of a state?
Easily.
Did the
Yes.
voices or the intrusive thoughts to your interview and your understanding abate or stop at that point on January 24th?
No.
Did they continue?
Yes.
And
Okay, somebody would have had to have put together that something was going on with her that she didn't plan for the rest of the day to go good. For one, instead of her laying on her ass in her pajamas, texting everybody about her medical issues, she was outside building a snowman. We've talked about this before. When people check out early, they're trying to stage a great day. Also, she had been told the day before that Cora had an upset stomach. The assumption was she was constipated. She took her to the doctor the next morning instead of getting her help that night. Took her to the doctor. I got a problem with that, guys. I know some people are real Team Lindsay. I get it. That type of stuff drives me nuts. She probably passed at least 5 different places where she could have gotten her some poo-poo medicine. She could have gone to the CVS and gotten her an enema. But the little girl was still constipated with a hard belly all day. So that tells me right there she had no interest in getting her daughter well. I guess we could call that psychosis. I guess we could. Then we go back to the Patrick question. He knows that his wife is heavily medicated. She can't take care of herself. They had to hire a nanny because she can't take care of the children. However, she's taken her daughter to the doctor and comes home without medicine. Now, I don't know about you guys, and I'm not saying every man on this planet is observant, but one thing they damn sure ask is if you go to the doctor or you take their child to the doctor, your child together to the doctor, they're going to ask, well, what did they give you? Did you get a prescription? Someone's going to have some kind of question. And at this point, I think Patrick was checked out. I do. I don't think he was buying any of it. Now, I don't think he's going to say that. You know, his little op-ed to the New Yorker basically said, I did not marry a monster. He didn't say she's not a monster now. He said he didn't marry one. But him, more than anyone, wants her to be found not guilty by reason of insanity, because that's big bucks deluxe, my friends. That's a lot of money he's going to get, because His children are dead.
Did she communicate by text with her husband about getting dinner and getting something from CVS?
Yes.
And what was it? Was it Pedialyte?
Pedialyte or Flexilax, it's a stool softener for her child.
And that's something that was prescribed by the doctor, right?
Yes.
Does that make sense that if somebody is in a state where they're having these symptoms, that they're able to remember that the doctor wanted the child to have Pedialyte and she tells her husband to get Pedialyte?
Yes, it does not interfere with that type of everyday living.
She indicated to you, Sarah, that that evening after the husband had, oh, by the way, was it your understanding from talking to her that the husband had taken trips, gone away for weekends, gone on ski trips, had brunches with his friends, and was out of the house on a regular basis?
Yes.
That night is when the children were killed. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we've heard repeatedly about the circumstances of the going out the window and the weather and the damages and the injuries and going to the hospital. Doctor, based on your review of all of the medical records, did you administer any testing, by the way, to her? Like you were talking about psychological testing?
Yes.
And what were the psychological tests that you performed?
Initially, I did a mini mental status exam, MMSE. It's just a common test
Wait a
about
minute.
orientation.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Oh.
NSE? What is that?
MMSE, mini mental status examination. Very common test
Okay.
demonstrating whether someone has a field of knowledge, who's the president, what direction should travel, and basic things like where are you, what day is today, who are you? And then I did another test as well.
What other test was that, sir?
That's the HARE psychopathy checklist, HARE.
And what does that do?
That's a measure of antisocial personality disorder.
And do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty based upon the scale that you use to assess whether or not Lindsay Clancy had anti-personality disorder?
Yes.
What was the result?
The result is that she does not have any type of antisocial personality disorder, also known as sociopathy.
Okay, that is one thing that was discussed with the nurse practitioner, Nurse Gelada, that said, well, she could be bipolar. Patrick says, no, she's not bipolar. She's not. It's kind of hard to blame Patrick considering everything was fine. And then suddenly she's like, I'm having all these symptoms. Oh, okay, well, we're going to get you some help. And it's one medication after another, and none of them are working. They're like, well, maybe she's bipolar. No, there's something else going on here. There is something else going on. And all the overnight hospitalizations, which she volunteered for, nobody committed her. She's committed now. And I think if Reddington has it his way, she'll be committed once the verdict comes in. So when they said bipolar, no. This man who has spent a lot of time with her says, no, it's nothing like that. It's going to be an actual pinpoint. His point is going to be she was in psychosis.
In addition to reviewing the medical records and testing and meeting with her, did you also interview third parties?
Yes.
Is that referred to in the psychology as collateral contacts?
Yes.
And you reviewed and interviewed a number of people in her family or friends or people in her social circle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors, sir, to a reasonable degree? Well, let me ask you this. Are you familiar with Mass General Hospital doing a major research program on postpartum psychosis?
Yes.
And did they publish an article, a significant article, regarding the circumstances, symptomology, and things of that nature of postpartum psychosis?
Yes.
And would you agree, sir, that the symptoms of postpartum psychosis would be depression. Is that one?
Yes.
Did Lindsay, to your opinion, have depression?
Yes.
And were there indications from your review of the medical records that she felt low, flat, tearful, emotional, crying?
All of those things. Yes.
Did she also express anxiety, feeling tense, nervousness?
All of those things. Yes.
Did she also express feelings that she was withdrawn, not able to socialize with people, wanting to talk or be near others?
All of those things as well. Yes.
She indicate that she felt tired, heavy, without energy?
Absolutely. Yes.
Did she indicate that she was having a harder time taking care of her children?
Yes.
Did she indicate that she was having issues regarding personal hygiene, not bathing, things of that nature?
Yes.
Did she indicate that she had severe confusion in actually hearing or seeing things that aren't there? In her case, it would not be seeing, that would be visual hallucinations. But did she complain of hearing things that weren't there, hallucinations?
Yes.
Did she complain of thoughts and beliefs that were not within reality and that she was in a disassociated state, out of reality?
Yes.
Did she indicate that, did you observe that there were circumstances where she exhibited increased energy, activity, productivity, otherwise known as hypomania?
Yes.
Did she complain that she had racing thoughts, a quote, busy brain, end quote, increased creativity?
Yes.
And when she said in your review of the medical records that she was having a busy brain, did she express the fact that she would get confused and that she thought her brain was damaged?
Yes, that's correct.
Was she restless and agitated, unable to keep still,
Yes.
unable to sleep?
Yes. Extremely unable to sleep.
So can you tell this jury, sir, in your opinion, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty based upon all of what you have reviewed, all of what we have talked about, all of what you have considered, as to whether or not at the time of this incident resulting in the killing of these 3 little kids, that she was suffering from a mental disease or defect, such as that she lost substantial capacity to appreciate the wrongfulness of her act, or in the disjunctive, was unable to conform her conduct to the requirements of the law?
Yes.
Tell the jury what your opinion is, please.
My opinion is that she did have indeed a mental disease or defect. That's a legal construct, not a DSM-5 one, but she had bipolar disorder.
Now, if the jury paid attention to this, they might go with the state, because he says it's not in the DSM-5. That means 0 to me. And I mean, that means 0 to me. I would need a medical professional sitting there telling me she's effed up. I don't care about no damn World Health Organization, CDC, FDA, DSM-5. The hell? What would that matter to me? But he said it's a legal construct. It's a legal construct. It's not in the DSM-5. Well, why not? If all of these women are losing their minds after having a baby, why hasn't it been studied more? I think I'm asking a fair question.
With postpartum psychoses, not a DSM-5 one, but she had bipolar disorder with postpartum psychoses. In addition, she was unable to conform her behaviors to the rule of law, and she had no appreciation for the wrongfulness of her act.
Thank you, sir.
She had no appreciation for the wrongfulness of her act. Woo! And if you go to Law and Crime, Court TV, any of them, after any testimony that doesn't paint Lindsay as a victim. Ho, ho, ho. My goodness. Be very careful in those comment sections. Well, this is what really PO'd me. And I watched it in real time. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and say, I've said it before, I'm a broken record right now. I'm so happy that I am not on that jury. Because for one, I would not be able to look at those two fools prancing around in their suits that don't fit them, wearing those hair bows, not even putting on lip gloss, just looking like haggard bitches and being very rude to all the family members. Lindsay's mom, Lindsay's father-in-law, Lindsay's ex-mother-in-law. They were kind of trying to kiss Patrick's ass a little bit, but of course it fell flat. And then they bring in the religious concept to it. I will say, the two families, they got some strong genes, my friends, because Lindsay looks just like her dad, and Patrick looks just like his mom. And I don't know what they're trying to prove, bringing in all these family members, except for that no one thought she was a bad mom. I get that part of it. What they have proven again and again and again and again and again and again is that she had plenty of help and plenty of people that care and plenty of people that were willing to do anything to make all this go away. The nanny made it clear.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just going to ask you, speak into that microphone, keep your voice.
Old girl don't want to be there. She does not want to be there. He goes, the judge says, good morning. She goes, good morning. And I will say that the prosecution, I know a lot of you have seen this, some of you haven't, they were beating up on the mother-in-law pretty bad. And I'm going to go ahead and let you know, that's not cool. Because as a mother-in-law, we always feel a little bit shortchanged. Like we know we are never going to be as important as the other mother, if you know what I mean. And they threw it right in her face.
Up if you could. All right. Counsel.
Good morning.
And just tell us your name and spell it, please.
Susan Clancy, SUSAN CLANCY.
And what time do you live
Situate.
in? And you're married to Chris Clancy.
Yes,
And both you and Chris are mother and father of Patrick's.
correct.
And obviously, you live in Lindsay.
Yes.
Tell us what your relationship was with Lindsay, how you knew her, and things like that.
Yeah, Lindsay married my son Patrick, and we had a very good relationship.
And did you have occasion to go to their home
Yes.
in Weymouth? on
Yes,
occasion?
I did.
And then in Duxbury as well?
Correct.
And obviously, you and your husband were the grandparents of the 3 little kids.
Yes.
And how was your relationship with the babies?
Beautiful.
And tell us how frequently, to your memory, you were able to visit with your son.
You know, bless her. I feel bad for the grandmas and the grandpas that take the stand and they're asked, Did you love your grandchildren? You think they're going to say, well, fuck no. I was so happy when Lindsay went crazy. No. Fun to ski. Girlfriend, where have you been? We have missed you. Everyone, Fun to Ski is back. Tell her good morning. And also, if you received a Crime Lines and Lies gift membership, you know who to thank. The one and only Gaelic Girl. Sitting there asking her grandma, did you love your grandkids? What kind of question is that? Did you have a good relationship with your grandkids? Yeah. Yeah. Most grandmas are going to say not enough of one.
Son, Lindsay, and of course your grandchildren.
At least a couple times a month, we would see them.
At some point, oh, by the way, what do you do for work?
RN.
I'm sorry, an RN?
An RN.
And what type of any focus?
I worked in the labor and delivery room for about 38 years.
38 years in labor and delivery,
Correct.
helping women that were having babies. And
Correct.
obviously you kept up with the studies and continuing education and things.
Yes, I did.
To that extent, in your capacity as an RN with 38, well, back then it would have been 35 years of experience, I think.
Yes.
Fair to say that you, as I said, you would keep up with all of recent developments in postpartum psychosis, postpartum depression, all of that.
Somewhat, but I mainly just was in the delivery room itself.
So were you aware of the various physicians that were in the forefront, if you will, of postpartum studies as it relates to medicine?
Yes.
And would one of the people that you were interested in be a person by the name of Dr. Meg Spinelli?
Yes.
I believe Dr. Spinelli is supposed to talk today. They abruptly ended court yesterday, and I didn't know if it was something that was said and it could be a possible mistrial. I wasn't sure, but now it has something to do with the travel time of another witness. I'm going to go ahead and assume it's Spinelli. And Wait wants to know, will Lindsay appeal if she's found guilty? Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. You better believe she will. Look at the Andrea Yates case. She was found guilty. Guilty, 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 guilty. They had her locked up for what, 5, 6 life sentences? Then the appellate court comes and I don't think we looked into the medical records enough. And then she went from jail to the institution she still lives in. So yeah, Lindsay will appeal. But don't get it twisted. Massachusetts is a totally different state as far as rehabilitation than Texas is.
Can you tell us who Meg Spinelli is?
I don't really know Meg Spinelli well. We've spoken a couple of times. I believe she specializes in postpartum mental health.
And have you met with her before?
Not in person.
Okay. Did you at some point ask Dr. Spinelli to help out at your hospital, and I guess they call it a rounds lecture?
I asked her to bring on her experience and education in that area and share it with my colleagues.
Did she do that?
She did.
And as time went by, dealing with your job, your family, your son, daughter-in-law, grandchildren, did you notice in 2022, after Callan was born, any change in the personality, if you will, of Lindsay?
Several months after that, I did.
Would that be sometime in the fall?
Yes.
And can you tell the jurors, being as close as you were with the family, well, let me back up. As a mother-in-law, did you have any observation to observe Lindsay with her kids.
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors about how you saw her acting with her children as a mother?
She was very nurturing, very loving. She was a wonderful mother. Wonderful.
Did you ever see her treat her middle son, Dawson, bad because you didn't like him?
No.
Did she love Dawson in your opinion?
She loved her children, all of them, very, very much.
It makes me wonder how Patrick's parents are dealing with everything. Lindsay's parents, unimaginable. I mean, we know that they have that big GoFundMe in order for them to keep up with hotels and meals and travel and being able to see Lindsay every day. We got that part. Patrick's parents, though, you know, he's remarried to a woman who looks almost identical to Lindsay. I still haven't heard it confirmed if they have had a child or not. Some people say, no, she don't have a kid. She don't have a kid, Brooke. Some people are like, oh, yeah, she's got a baby. Oh, yeah, she's got a baby. That's a lot going on all at once. I would be scared for my son to remarry that quickly, especially to someone that looks just like his wife that killed these kids. And at the end of the day, Patrick is not on trial. Susan's not on trial. Paula's not on trial. Allison's not on trial. All the friends from college are not on trial. Her coworkers are not on trial. And believe it or not, the medical professionals that treated her, undertreated her, overtreated her, they're not on trial. It's only Lindsay. But I couldn't imagine my son going through something so horrific and then he's like, I'm going to get married. I just don't know how I would handle that. But that would be a show for a different day. And again, that's their family. Jules said, not everyone has sense enough to turn to Jesus. Sad but true. You're exactly right.
And during that period of time, in, let's say October, November of 2022, what did you observe about Lindsay?
She reached out to me in November and told me that she felt unwell.
Did she describe any symptoms for you?
She did.
Tell the jurors what she said.
She felt mostly she had insomnia. She was losing her appetite. She was very anxious and sad.
Did she tell you that she was seeing doctors?
Yes.
And at some point, did you recommend, did she come to you and ask you for help regarding seeing a doctor?
Yeah, she asked for my support.
And did you obviously gave it to her?
Yes.
And what did you do to make any recommendations for her?
I reached out to my colleagues who were running a clinic for women that were struggling postpartum.
Would that be the South Shore?
Yes, correct.
And at some point, as a result of your intervention, was a nurse practitioner, Julie Hall.
You know, if Patrick's parents weren't good people, they would be giving a totally different testimony. They could easily be like, you know what? One time she burnt the duck at Christmas. You know what? We always had an inkling she was just damn lazy. You know what? Patrick made all the money. Patrick took care of everything. Patrick hired housekeepers. Patrick hired the nanny, but they don't. And let's get it down to an ad's ass. They miss their grandchildren greatly, deeply. So it tells me they are good people by doing what they believe in their mind is the right thing. Could you do it? I'll start with Jules. Jules and I are both boy moms. It's hard to even say because we don't have daughter-in-laws like that. I'll just throw it out there in the universe. If one of your daughter-in-laws killed your grandkids, would you be this composed? Would you be a hostile witness? Would you have to be subpoenaed? Or would you flat out say no? Would you have compassion for the person that killed your grandkids? I don't know. For me, I don't know.
Agreeing to step in and help out.
Yes,
Did Lindsay see Julie?
I believe she did.
And you really pretty much were out of the mix at that point. You basically made the connection, knew that she was on there, right?
Correct.
Did you find that Lindsay was interested at all times in trying to get better and see doctors?
Very much so.
Did you find at all, or do you have an opinion with your observations of Lindsay as to whether or not she was offered help who would just spurn it and not see doctors and not have
She was
treatment?
begging for help.
And during that period of time, you were there for her by text and by telephone and in person.
Correct.
Now, during that time that you were, let's say November and into December, the holiday season, do you recall the holidays for 2022?
Yes.
Tell us, was that a fun time for the Clancys?
Lindsay was struggling. We were all very concerned.
You knew in January, New Year's, actually, that she ended up going
Yes.
to the McLean Hospital.
Yes.
You know that she'd eventually get out of the McLean Hospital.
Yes.
Fair to say that you and Lindsay, as I said, communicated a lot by text messaging, right?
Yes. Correct.
So I'm going to approach you with extraction report. This is a report that is done by the DA's office of the state police, Mr. Whiffen, on what's called Celebrate, where they can go into, did they examine your phone?
The Boylan family said they must know she was really having mental problems. They all knew. Everyone knew. Everyone knew. Patrick knew. Her mom knew. Her sister knew. Her dad knew. The neighbors were aware something was going on. In-laws knew. Co-workers knew. Friends from college, friends from elementary school. This was not a secret. The nanny knew. Everyone knew what was going on. So then you ask yourself, how could this happen? If everybody knew.
No.
They examined Lindsay's phone and obtained texts. Have you seen the texts?
I think so.
Okay, I'm going to approach you with the extraction report. Okay. And you can just take a look and see if your telephone number is on there, just for foundation purposes. Or if it is, okay. And just quickly flip through and see if you recognize those texts. We'll have to look at all of them, that's for sure. They appear to be texts between you and Lindsay? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Boylan family, thank you for saying this. It's not like she had a broken leg. When I was struggling with it, and by the way, I was nothing like Lindsay, okay? There was no psychotic episode. Obviously, my children are alive. There was no psychosis, nothing like that going on. But I was put on something. True story, I was. This was back in 1997, 98, I can't remember. And I was embarrassed, if you want to know the truth. And the doctor said, you know, it's easier to treat diabetes than what you have going on. And so you're exactly right. A broken leg, sure, you're on the mend. Cast your ass up, we'll get it reset. But something like this is totally different.
Your Honor, I'm not going to go through each and every text. What I'm going to suggest is I would offer this, and then the jurors would be able to look at what they wish.
Any objection?
Your Honor, Kamal just makes the same objection previously made. I'll keep doing
All right, over the Kamal's objection, that may be admitted.
Thank you very much.
Kamal?
Okay, here we go. In the greater Boston area, this is all they can come up with is Miss Hairbow. On the daily, she says she wears a different hair bow in order to remember Cora Clancy. I think she forgets, or she's doing this purposely, that Lindsay was the one that put the different hair bows in Cora's hair all the time. Why it's allowed, I will never know. And out of all the assistant district attorneys, clerks, out of everyone they have, why they picked these two, I'll never know. All right, get ready. Watch her shine. Watch this go down. Turn your volume up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you indicated that you were a labor and delivery nurse for 38 years.
Mhm.
And what hospital was that?
South Shore Hospital.
And early on in the defendant's career, did you work with her?
Briefly.
And she then went to Mass General, correct?
Yeah, she was a student at the time.
And you stated that you are a
If it's true that Patrick was having an affair and he was cheating on Lindsay and she killed the kids, then she's 100% guilty murder in the first degree. I'm just saying, we don't get to kill our kids because old boy is getting his whistle wet somewhere else. No, no, no. No way. No friggin' way. It can only be one thing, and that is postpartum psychosis in order for her to get not guilty by reason of insanity. You know how many people would be lined up for trial because old boy didn't do what they wanted him to do?
aware of a doctor named Meg Spinelli, correct?
Yes.
Did you reach out to her in this case?
I don't remember exactly how she and I connected. I don't recall.
Well, you indicated that you connected with her in a professional capacity to have her come to your hospital, right?
Yes.
But as far as her role in this case with the defendant, did you reach out to her for that?
I don't think I did. I don't recall.
I wasn't trying to offend anybody by saying, remember, we can agree to disagree and walk away as friends. I'm just saying that if he was having an affair and that's what drove her to this, then she's homicidal. She's a mass murderer. That's all there is to it. But I dropped the link if anybody wants to come up. We'd love to talk to you. I kind of feel lonely up here.
Now, you said that you began to notice some issues in, defense counsel said October, November, but fair to say you weren't aware of what was going on until she texted you on November 16th when she was
Correct.
at the emergency room.
Yes.
And that was at South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And you actually met her there at the emergency room?
Yes.
Was she by herself or with Patrick?
She was by herself.
Did you know how she got there?
She drove.
She drove herself to the hospital?
Correct.
And she was in the emergency room for a while, correct?
I don't know how long, probably an hour, maybe 2 hours.
Well, you went down when you knew she was there, sat with her for a little bit, went back upstairs to because you were working that day, right?
Correct. I wasn't able to go down immediately. I had to wait about an hour and a half, and then I went down.
Okay. And then you sat with her for a little bit, went back up to work, right?
Yes.
And then you came back down at some point before she was discharged.
Yes. Counsel, can I see it sidebar just very briefly?
Uh-oh. She's in trouble. Need to see you in sidebar. Need to see you in sidebar. Just about had it with your ass. Get your big back and your big bow over here. Come on. The judge has had it. He's had it. He's told her over and over, quit leading the witnesses. Don't think he hasn't gotten after Reddington before. He's been like, all right, no, we're not doing that. Janica said, I'm sorry, but you'd think after the first child was killed with an exercise band, she would have stopped. Sounds like rage to me. Yeah, I've never heard it put that way, but you're exactly right. Exactly right. And when Lindsay was cutting herself in different areas, I've got to keep it Sesame Street for the YouTube. She jumped out the window and just.
So, Mrs. Clancy, you came down to the emergency room and you sat with her for a while, correct?
Yes.
And did she tell you why she was there?
Yes.
And fair to say, she indicated to you that she was having trouble sleeping and she had some heart palpitations.
Correct.
And that's what brought her to the emergency room to get checked out.
Yes.
Did she tell you that she had consumed a weed gummy before going to the ER that day?
She did not.
Okay. And in your experience as a nurse, is that sometimes a reaction to THC or CBD or some sort of weed that somebody might have a faster heartbeat?
I don't know.
Now, when she was in the emergency room.
Okay, let me ask you all this. Look at this. And remember, the only side I'm on is Cora, Dawson, and Callan's side. That's the only side. That's it. And I pray for the jurors because I know they have a very hard decision to make. So when you see all of these medications, and there's a ton of them, it's an arsenal, it's a war chest. Mixing weed gummies and alcohol with them, do you think that could have put her into psychosis, or do you think it's postpartum psychosis? Because I don't know. I have never gotten to take all those medications, a gummy and wine. So I don't know.
She was seen by a doctor and provided some medication. Were you there when the doctor was there?
Yes.
And you're aware that the ER doctor gave her some trazodone to help her sleep?
Yes.
Because that's what she was really concerned about, right? The sleep.
Yes.
And when she left the emergency room, did you call her an Uber or have Pat come and get her or call your husband to come get her?
No.
She left in her own car, right?
Correct.
And so fair to say, after that ER visit, you remained in pretty constant contact with her, at least via text message,
Yes.
right? And that you would check in with her pretty much daily. And that's all in these texts.
Yes.
Now, you were familiar with the perinatal behavioral health clinic because of your work at South Shore Hospital,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
And so the person actually that you connected with first was not Julie Paul, was it?
No, it was one of the midwives that I was working with.
And her name's Nanette.
I think so.
And so did she provide you with Julie Paul's contact information?
She suggested Julie.
Okay. And as a result of the suggestion, you reached out to Julie with Lindsay's permission, right?
Yes.
She did. I can tell you right now, her mother-in-law did nothing wrong. She has 30 plus years of being a labor and delivery nurse. She's trying to help her daughter-in-law. She's trying to help her son. She's trying to help her grandchildren. She went through more skips and jumps than anybody as far as everyone I've seen in this trial. And I agree with Cece. You would think the Commonwealth, I say the state of Massachusetts, would put their best out in front of a case this big. This is not their best. This is not anywhere near their best. It's almost like they had some like backdoor meeting and said, all right, don't want to get killed in the press. We have to do something about this. And so let's get those two chicks that are always at Dunkin' Donuts and we'll have them try the case. Because at this point, I don't care if we win or lose. Do not care about the taxpayers' dollars. There's just no way they couldn't find someone better than these two. Hell, me and Jules could have done a better job.
And you said that at that point you made the contact, knew she had spoken to Julie, and you kind of stepped back from the clinic.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You're aware Julie Paul is one of the only prescribers that the defendant encountered that's not personally named in a civil lawsuit that's pending, don't you?
See, the people that are on the stand don't know the law, but the prosecutors and the defense attorneys do know the law, and the judge certainly damn sure does. So when she's like, but you know, Julie Powell's the only one that's not listed in the civil lawsuit. Okay, because she civilly didn't do anything wrong. So now this is their new thing. They're going to bring up the fact that they are suing all these medical providers. Well, guess what? They have every right to do that. Old Matt Walsh on the Daily Wire, he's lost his way in a way. He's a father. He's a father. And he's not understanding how this is going. Internet opinions have no bearing on this case. Lindsay Clancy is a United States citizen and has every right to a defense. And with everything that went on, the medical records wrote the story itself. And as far as this civil lawsuit, it will tank if she is found guilty of first-degree murder. And as far as the mother-in-law up there, Britt saying, how can grandma testify these questions when she replied with, I think so, to knowing a woman's name? She doesn't have to say anything. She could just plead the fifth and not help at all. True story. A lot of people, when they get on the stand, they're scared to death that they could say something wrong under oath. So they'll say things like, I don't remember. That sounds familiar. They're coached heavily.
I'm not sure.
Now, so the ER visit's on the 16th. Contact is made with Julie Paul on November 20th, right?
It sounds right.
Okay. And that would have been your phone call to her first.
I don't remember exactly.
In the time period, well, you know she was going and going to see providers.
Well, Susan Clancy is the defense's witness. And Kevin Reddington is not objecting. He's not raising any hell. The woman asking the question, she could easily say, I need yes or no from you. Now, I don't know how that would pair with the jury if you beat up on grandma.
And meeting with Julie and going to the clinic, did you offer to help out more with the kids?
Yes,
You were still working full-time at that time, weren't you?
yes,
So fair to say it was kind of limited based on your schedule?
correct.
Did you have a normal schedule that you worked at that time period?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, as a nurse, did you work day shifts? Did you work mids?
I worked the day shift.
So did you offer to watch the kids at nighttime?
I don't remember exactly.
Did the kids come to stay at your house overnight so that she could get some sleep?
No, they didn't.
Fair to say you offered and she didn't want the kids to come to your house, right?
No, that's not right.
Well, did they ever sleep over your house?
No, they didn't.
And Cora was 5, right?
Yes, correct. She turned 5 that December.
So at any point, they never stayed over.
We decided together it was best for them to be in their own beds at their own house with all their belongings. And Lindsay's parents were very actively involved in staying over and helping out. So it was the best decision that they stay home in their own beds.
So prior to the November of 2022, did you and your husband ever come and stay over the night so that Patrick and Lindsay could go off?
We never did stay at their house.
Why do they need to sleep overnight? If Lindsay has got this war chest of medication for her to sleep, Patrick can get up and down with the baby. It's almost like they're blaming Susan Clancy. We already heard testimony. We talked about it Tuesday morning from Lindsay's mom saying, no, I went right over there. Lindsay slept in the bed with me. I took care of the children. There was a nanny there during the day. So exactly what is she trying to say? I don't know what eruption she's looking for, but I'm just not digging it. What does it have to do with anything? You see, grandma's not on trial. If they said we want the kids to sleep in their own beds, then so be it. That's the reason Lindsay's mother was there so often. And let's not forget, she has a whole ass husband and a nanny that was willing to stay any night they wanted.
And as far as kind of watching the kids or taking the kids outside of the house during the daytime, did you often take Cora on kind of day trips out to lunch?
Yeah, we used to go to lunch together.
How about Dawson? Did you take him one-on-one out to?
Not as much. He was younger.
And how about Callan? Did you ever take him out of the house without Lindsay?
No.
And are you aware that Lindsay told one of the therapists that she wasn't close with you as in-laws? And that
I didn't know that, no.
That she said she doesn't generally allow the in-laws to watch her children?
I did watch the kids.
Okay, but are you aware that she told the therapist that?
No.
Are you aware she told the therapist that she didn't have any particular reason why and that they don't bug me about it either?
I didn't know any of that.
Now,
What a dig to do to this woman. What a dig to do to her. And what does it matter? Lindsay might have been like, I'm more comfortable with my mom watching the kids than Patrick's mom. Well, she told her therapist that she don't want your ass around. She doesn't want your bug-eyed ass around. You look just like her husband. She pictures herself having sex with you. She didn't want you around. She's like, but I did watch the kids. She's trying to turn grandma against Lindsay. She is looking for a gotcha moment, and it didn't happen. Listen again.
the therapist that she wasn't close with you as in-laws? And that
I didn't know that, no.
that she said she doesn't generally allow the in-laws to watch her children?
I did watch the kids.
Okay, but are you aware that she told the therapist that?
No.
Are you aware she told the therapist that she didn't have any particular reason why and that they don't bug me about it either?
I didn't know any of that.
Now, Lindsay, the defendant, she communicated with you via text about her issues with sleep and the medication she was taking, right?
Yes.
And as far as the ER visit where the trazodone was prescribed, do you recall having a back and forth conversation with her about that it's okay to increase it if you weren't getting any relief?
The doctor told her that, so I repeated that.
And so you're aware that she was in fact increasing the dose?
I did not know that.
Well, I tell you what. What a thing to say to someone. Well, did you know that your ex-daughter-in-law who killed your grandkids told her therapist that she doesn't trust you around the kids? Well, I would go ahead and be like, but she killed the kids, so what does that matter? I would have barked right back at her. She lost her grandkids. She's talking about day dates that she would have with her granddaughter, Cora. She said Dawson not so much because he was younger. Callan, he's a baby. He's a newborn baby. No, I don't go and tool around with Callan. I don't feel a need to go hang out at the mall with a 4-month-old baby, 6-month-old baby, 8-month-old baby. I just don't do it. Considering all the issues are around postpartum from having Callan, that wouldn't be a good idea. Gaelic Girl said, this is sickening. This woman has suffered enough. I love how she doesn't use Post-it notes or know how to ear tag anything. She seriously just wastes the court's time by going through to try to find her next point. Awesome work there, girlfriend.
Now, once she was seeing Julie Paul, did you continue to have conversations with her about how she was feeling?
Yes.
And you knew that she was taking some new medications after she saw Julie, right?
Yes.
And sorry, these pages are different than mine. At some point, after being prescribed some medication, you recall that Lindsay told you that she thought she developed a benzo dependency, correct?
I vaguely remember that.
That would be on November 29th, where she says, I just deep down.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure she did have a benzo dependency. Yeah. Yeah, we're split right down the middle, and that is A-okay, because guess what? None of us are related to any of the people in this saga, and none of us are on the jury. So we have a new poll up. Go and take it.
Inside of me feel that I've developed a benzo dependence after just 2 weeks of using it, and I feel like no one is hearing that and addressing it, and we keep throwing different meds in the mix that aren't really addressing the real issue. Do you recall that message?
It sounds familiar.
And she asks you, or you respond, so hard, I don't know what to do. So should you not use it? And she responds, I guess not, but then I don't sleep, right? Do you recall that?
I can't say for certain. It sounds right.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot of specifics.
And on November 30th, she says, and
You see, Susan Clancy is 10 times nicer than me. I mean, you can tell that she's lost in her own mind because she has obviously gone through a lot. Okay? She's gone through a lot. She cherished her grandchildren. She strived to have a great relationship with her daughter-in-law. And then this chick is flipping through papers to try to find her next point. And I mean, I would be biting through nails right now.
just gonna try to show on the screen here. She says, I'm not okay and I'm terrified of taking meds tonight. Do you see that in the green?
Now I have a question. If Lindsay is privately telling a therapist that she just didn't really want her mother-in-law taking care of her children while all this is going on, then why on earth was she texting her so often to tell her what was going on? You tell your therapist, no, I don't trust them with the kids. Well, nobody should have trusted Lindsay with the kids. Not one person. And I think we all know why, because the children have been murdered. They were all strangled. The only one it appeared that she was trying to save was Callan, because she didn't apply enough pressure around his neck. That's the reason he hung on for 3 days. But Cora and Dawson, oh no. No. I mean, Lindsay, even had defensive wounds on her for the fact that her children were fighting back. But Callan, she didn't apply as much pressure. That was discussed, and that's the reason he hung on for 3 days. Now you have the mother-in-law up here who has been through it all since January of 2023. I'm going to go ahead and say since September of 2022. She hears from the state, did you know that Lindsay told her therapist, like, she can't stand your fucking ass and, like, really didn't trust you to watch the kids? No, I didn't know that, but I did watch the kids. So, like, what's your point? And now we're hearing text message after text message after text message from Lindsay to her former mother-in-law asking about all these different medications and talking about different doctors. You know, sometimes you can prove a point by not making one.
Yes. And then your response is, why are you scared? Why happens if you don't take them? What are you afraid of? What about Ambien, right? You're actively trying to help her kind of figure out the medication.
Yes, there were a lot of medications.
Okay. You're aware she wasn't prescribed all the medications at one time, but just that a lot of different combinations were kind of thrown around as options, right?
It seemed confusing.
That she's very clear and she tells you which medications she's taking, right? Ativan and Remeron.
Probably.
Okay. And then she also tells you on November 30th, when you're talking about it, she says, I know they take time to reach a therapeutic level to have the desired effect, right? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And then you respond, exactly. And she tells you that she's just depressed and she thinks it was brought on by the medication, right?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Well, on November 30th at 7:52, I was never ever this depressed. It was brought on by the medication. Did you say that or did she say that?
She probably said that.
Now, you were asked about the holidays and Thanksgiving. You remember Thanksgiving? Where did you guys go for Thanksgiving?
To my daughter's house.
And do you remember telling the grand jury that during Thanksgiving things were better?
I don't recall.
Well, do you remember her saying that she said things were better? Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Okay. You were asked, what was Lindsay like during the big Thanksgiving gathering? What observations did you make? Answer, she smiled. The girls all had Thanksgiving t-shirts on that sort of matched. We took a picture. She mostly focused on the kids and interacting with the cousins and the aunts and uncles. At one point, she went off a little into the distance, and I approached and asked her how she was doing, and she said, I'm trying hard to get better. I'm still working at it. I asked about her sleep. I thought that was important, and also the fact that she lost some weight. She didn't have an appetite, and she said things were getting better.
Okay.
Did everyone hear the same thing I just heard? I don't care what kind of shit life you have. When it's a holiday, you try to put your best face on, okay? That's it. You know, talking to people, seeing the kids, making sure your kids aren't, stepping in the mashed potatoes. And then her mother-in-law was like, I'm concerned about your sleep. She says, I'm trying to get better. What point did the prosecution make by saying at Thanksgiving, Lindsay said, I'm trying to get better?
Now, during the holidays, you, in fact, took some time off of work so that you were around a little bit more, correct?
Correct.
And so when you were around a little bit more, did you spend all day, every day at their house?
No.
Fair to say you would come sometimes play with the kids, right?
Yes.
Do shopping for her.
Correct.
And then you actually went on vacation.
Yes.
You and your husband went to Aruba.
Yes.
How long were you in Aruba?
5 or 6 days, I think.
Okay. And now moving towards Christmas, you had dinner with them at their house on the 23rd, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember breakfast on Christmas Day?
Yes.
Was that at their house or someplace else?
Their house.
Okay. And then what did you guys do after breakfast?
We went to church.
And fair to say you've previously testified that breakfast was great
Yes.
and that church was beautiful.
Yes.
And in fact, the defendant, she told you that it was great and that she was glad she went to church that day on Christmas Day.
Yes, she did.
And then after that, you're aware they went down to Connecticut to see her family.
Right.
Now, are you an active member in the Catholic Church?
Yes.
So you're aware that murder is considered a mortal sin?
Yeah, Counsel, could I see you over here?
Yeah, she said it. So you had a great day. You had a great time. She's blaming Patrick's mother, who did nothing but try to help. Well, you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Then she brings her religion up. Look at her face with what was just said to her. This is such a bitchy thing to say. And here comes the judge. It's not even sidebar. It's get your ass over here. Odds are there are a lot of Catholics on that jury. It's the greater Boston area, for fuck's sake. She's like, and Lindsay said she had a great time at church. Yeah, she said she was glad she went to church. Oh, you're a Catholic. Yeah. So you know murder is a mortal sin. Listen to it again.
Uh,
5 or 6 days, I think.
And now moving towards Christmas, you had dinner with them at their house on the 23rd, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember breakfast on Christmas Day?
Yes,
Was that at their house or someplace else?
their house.
Okay. And then what did you guys do after breakfast?
We went to church.
And fair to say, you've previously testified that breakfast was great
Yes,
and that church was beautiful.
yes,
And in fact, the defendant, she told you that it was great and that she was glad she went to church that day on Christmas Day.
yes, she did.
And then after that, you're aware they went down to Connecticut to see her family.
Right.
Now, are you an active member in the Catholic Church?
Yes,
So you're aware that murder is considered a mortal sin?
Yeah, Counsel, could I see you over here?
Well, oh my gosh. I'm Baptist, and the 10 Commandments say thou shalt not kill. Is anyone denying that she killed her children? The question is, was she in her right mind or not? What are you doing beating up on the grandma? Bringing up her taking a vacation to Aruba. Bringing up how she had Thanksgiving with them. Ooh, Patricia is spicy. Patricia said, I'm a nurse and I would have told that lady to go fuck herself. Well, that would have taken the jaws of life because she's a big old girl. I'm telling you, that is so disgusting. And the minute that the judge said, counsel, now. Done and over. That's it. We are not debating the Bible. They're debating the law. Man's law. The laws that our congressmen and our senators write and we vote for. If we go to vote, that's what they basically are debating. What is Lindsay's accountability in all of this? Was she in her right mind or not? Was she?
All right. And what that means is you are not to consider it for any reason or any purpose. Okay? All right. Counsel.
So you were aware.
I'll tell you what, she pissed off the judge. Okay? She pissed off the judge. And she's still going. Hey, fine by me. Tilly King, girl, where have you been? I've missed you. But she pissed off the judge this time. And I looked him up, and by the way, he's a Catholic. He knows what that line of questioning meant, and he knew what she was throwing out there. That'd be like talking to a jury in Oklahoma and being like, hey, look, I know all of you guys are Baptists, so you're probably not going to have a problem going ahead and voting for the death penalty for this dude. Even in Oklahoma, they would be like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. No.
Mrs. Clancy, about the stay at McLean Hospital from January 1st to January 5th, correct?
Yes.
And did you come to the house to help with the kids during that time period?
Yes.
And fair to say, when she came home on the 5th, there was a party for Cora on the 7th.
Yes.
Did you go to the birthday party?
No.
Were you at the house much between January 7th and January 24th?
I don't remember.
Do you recall previously reporting that you hadn't been at the house?
I don't remember.
And during that time period, you never took the kids on a day trip or for a visit?
I don't recall.
And were you aware that between January 7th and January 24th that Pat and Lindsay went to the Cape Codder with the kids?
I'm aware of that.
And that they went to the Museum of Science with the kids?
Yes.
And that Pat left Dawson and Callan home, or excuse me, left Dawson and Callan home to go take Cora skiing. Were you aware of that?
It sounds accurate to me.
On the ski trip, did they ask you to come over and stay with Lindsay while she was with the other kids?
I don't remember.
And you were asked on direct examination about Lindsay going to see providers, and you said, I think she was begging for help, right?
She was.
Did you attend any of those meetings with her, therapists or doctors?
No.
So you don't know what she told the providers, right?
I don't know.
And you don't know what kind of help she asked for other than medication, do you?
No.
And do you know whether there was any other options offered to her other than McLean, like a partial hospitalization program or intensive outpatient? Were you aware of those options?
Yeah.
And do you know if she went?
She went to women and infants.
So that's the one day where Pat dropped her off and went skiing and then came back, right?
I believe so.
Boy, she's snarky. She went to women and infants. Oh, so that's the one day that Pat actually got off his bug-eyed ass and dropped her off and then went skiing. Sounds about right. I mean, what does she want? Who's on trial here? Lindsay's on trial. Who took her to the doctor? Who sat with her? Who made sure she took her medication? They're not on trial. That's nuts. I saw this, I read this article, Boston Globe, a reporter that was in there, and they said during Susan Clancy's testimony, many jurors just kept putting their hands over their face and looking down like, I can't with this train wreck. So like the one time he took her to the doctor, then he went skiing, sounds about right. What does it matter? Who's going to help her more? Her husband or the doctor?
Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Springton, redirect?
So she asked you about options that were available to Lindsay, correct?
Yes.
You mentioned one of them was that she could go to the Women and Infants program in Rhode Island that specializes in perinatal and postpartum, right?
Yes,
You know that she went there, right?
correct.
You know she was turned away because she was over-medicated, right?
Yes,
You also know that they gave her numbers to call suicide hotlines, right?
yes,
She called twice, not once, but twice, and again was turned away. Isn't that right?
yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Come on.
On that.
Yo-oh, big bow, big back. She's grabbing another piece of paper to remind her of what good point she's going to make next. Kevin Reddington's like, Lindsay was turned away because she's over medicated. Yes.
So you're aware she was turned away because she told you she was turned away, right?
I don't remember the details of that visit or that day.
You didn't review the records, did you?
No,
So you're not aware that they actually deferred to Pat and Lindsay reporting over medication?
I remember something being said that she wasn't a candidate for that program. That's what I recall.
You're exactly right, Anastasia. The biggest champion in Lindsay's corner should have been, might have been, I don't know, her husband, Patrick. You know, he's keeping the home fires burning. You know, he's back to work. He's making sure we're making the house payment, the car payments, the preschool payments, keeping up with the insurance. When Lindsay isn't able to do her part, he calls in the brigade. I'm going to get my mom. I'm going to get your mom. Going to see what your sister can do. Hell, I'm going to hire a nanny. Yeah, you're exactly right. Somebody fell short in this whole scenario, and the only people that cannot be blamed are Cora, Dawson, and Callan.
Being told by Patrick and Lindsay.
Okay. And that's because everything she described was reported connected to medication and occurred well after what's considered the postpartum period, right?
I don't know.
Well, you're a labor and delivery nurse. You know the postpartum period could be up to a year, right?
I've heard it could be longer.
But generally, it's within the first 12 weeks that you start to see some symptoms.
I don't know.
You're aware that she was sent from women and infants with actually several options, where it included inpatient treatment for medication management, a partial hospitalization program focused on general mental health, or continued outpatient management. That's what she was sent away with.
Okay.
Nothing further.
May I? One more?
Go ahead, one.
So outpatient management, that would include somebody like Gelada, right?
Yes.
You know that women and infants call?
Patricia said, why aren't they grilling the husband? Well, that's a good question. That's a great question. They did grill him, I want to say day one of the trial, but he hasn't been called by Kevin Redding to come back on the stand. And it seems to me that everyone's getting grilled except for the woman that killed 3 children. Like everyone is being treated in a certain way. Certain way, they are. Like everyone's to blame for what Lindsay did, except for Lindsay.
Gelada, and she never called him back?
I didn't know that.
Come on, anything on that?
No.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Let me step down. Thank you.
Woo! Tell you what, those chicks, they really know how to hit under the belt. All right, well, they did more yesterday, and I just couldn't believe it because another psychiatrist that's been treating Lindsay after the fact testified and basically just went through his chart notes, his soap notes, whatever you want to call it. And then here comes the Grimace twins and totally tanked it. When I had my depression after having my youngest son, I was told no. The onset could be 2 years later. Anyway, I got into the Prozac Nation. It took about 6 months to get me straightened out, and then I was fine. I didn't feel like I was looking through a tunnel anymore.
List of definitions.
If I looked under P in this dictionary, would it contain anything about postpartum psychosis for a woman?
There is one mention on page 148.
That's it.
That's it.
The rest of the world, they don't care about the DSM. They have some other
Yes.
information, right? What is that called?
The World Health Organization publishes something called the International Classification of Disease.
Okay, Tilly King said, I always believed it could take up to 5 years for PPD. The depression, the psychosis is different. Okay, that's what I have been learning, but please do not hitch your horse to my cart, because you're just going to get fucked, because I do not know. I'm learning with the rest of you. Okay, that's all there is to it. I don't know. I only know my personal experience. When I said there's no way I could be postpartum, I mean, he'll be 2 in January and this was in May. Oh, it's still possible. And so I start taking a little itty bitty pill, started feeling I'm talking 10 times better. But I was too embarrassed to tell anybody what was going on because I felt crazy. In this day and age, people don't feel crazy with things like that. They'll just be like, oh my gosh, you wouldn't even believe what they told me. They told me you got to have this, and this, and that. She was very open. Very open with her husband, his family, her family, her co-workers.
Hello, Moto.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hey, I'm live right now.
Oh, you are? I'm so sorry.
Say hi to everyone. Hey, everybody, it's True Crime Beat.
Oh, that's hilarious. I forgot you do the early show. Hi, y'all.
Goofy buns. What is she doing? I was like, oh, this will be funny. But you just never know. You just don't. I mean, true story, I think I have postpartum depression and my kids are in their 30s because they're all pissing me off. How about that? What this trial comes down to is, because of a medical diagnosis, are you okay to kill? That's all it comes down to.
Which is now in its 11th edition. It lists postpartum psychosis as a separate entity. And that's the one that insurance companies use for billing purposes.
Right, not this.
Correct.
Are you familiar, sir, with the way other countries treat pregnant women in postpartum condition when they see, let me finish, when they see a doctor for medical treatment? Yes or no?
Objection.
All right, just allow that.
I love how he told Big Back to sit down and she just flat out did it and didn't wait for the judge to say anything. He just pointed at her, I'm not finished. And she just sat right back down. The judge didn't even get in the middle of it. Jules said, that's just adult children, Brooks, LOL. So Jules is saying that I can't be postpartum at 51 years old. Interesting. Let's do a poll. Can I be postpartum at 51 years old because my kids are pissing me off? What's your answer? I know someone's got an answer. tell you what.
Question that will.
Yes.
And how does that differ from the United States of America?
Sustained.
Go ahead.
All right. Como?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Oh, there's our hero. And I'll tell you what, she's a bigger version of Lisa K. Ruitz with longer hair and a bow. True Crime Beat said, I think you can be mentally stressed. Well, yeah. Because my granddaughter's the coolest chick I've ever met in my life, and they don't let me take care of her as much as I want, but that's, different story. So let's just say I'm mentally stressed. Do I have a right to kill someone? That's what this whole trial is about. Yes, they are putting medicine on trial. Yes, it looks like they're putting her support system on trial. There are some people that don't have a damn person in their life. No one. And they have to struggle on their own to get through something like this. Where's the accountability? What does she need? Does she need jail with medical assistance, which, yes, she will get? Or does she need to be institutionalized? Or does she just need to walk away and they acquit her because they feel like she's already a prisoner in her own body, as I've been reading a lot of the comments?
You spent some time when you first got to the stand going over your qualifications, and I think counsel now has admitted your curriculum vitae into evidence, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Your curriculum vitae.
Yes.
Is you went through that with counsel. You recall that?
Yes.
And fair to say, the majority of the entries and your experience and your presentations and your teaching and fellowships, most of which revolve around child and adolescent psychiatry, correct?
I wouldn't say the majority.
Well, where in your CV does it say that you worked with postpartum women?
It doesn't say that specific.
Oh my gosh, she is something else. Okay, she had zero problem with Dr. Jennifer Tufts, who, by the way, still to this day has on her website that she is an expert in postpartum depression. But now she's getting after this old codger that treated Lindsay way after the fact. In your CV, where does it say? It doesn't. It doesn't. But she had nothing to say to Dr. Jennifer Tufts that looks like somebody I would hire to walk my cat. Okay? So people that are treating her after the fact, she's mad at them. Love it.
Okay, so your testimony is that back in 1983, when you were at the Massachusetts, mental health center, you worked with the postpartum women, is that correct?
There were patients who either were pregnant while they were there or delivered and were hospitalized after that, yes.
Okay. And your involvement in this case with defense counsel, wasn't directly that he reached out to you, was it? It was that you had provided some information as it pertains to a civil lawsuit that's pending.
That's correct.
Okay. And so this affidavit that counsel's been referring to that you drafted, you've revised it for these proceedings, but fair to say,
lots of women, you're exactly right, True Crime Beat, lots of women suffer from postpartum depression, and they do not murder their babies. What they're talking about is postpartum psychosis. That's when the depression becomes so bad, you become psychotic, like Andrea Yates. That's what the defense is trying to prove, and that's what the state is trying to disprove. You see, one wants her in jail, and yes, she will get medical treatment. Not the best. I'm not saying it's going to be the best in the institution. But that's the difference. PPP or PPD or murder. Did she just seriously want her children gone? I personally wouldn't jump out a window for anyone's ass. But she obviously was going through something. Being pissed off at Patrick and his mom and whatever else, you don't jump out the window for that and you don't kill your kids. Something else was going on. So where is the accountability for the state of Massachusetts? What is the jury thinking? Are they going to put her away for life, 3 life sentences? Or are they going to institutionalize her for 25 years with 6-month checkups? That's what it comes down to. Personally, I don't know how I would vote.
You went through a series of records that didn't include anything related to this criminal case, meaning no police reports, interviews, photos from the scene. Is that fair to say?
No police reports, no photos from the scene.
So the majority of what you reviewed pertained to medical records, right?
Yes.
And in fact, you cite too in your affidavit a New Yorker article for facts.
Yes.
That's where you got most of your facts, is from a New Yorker article.
No, I also spoke to Mr. Clancy.
You spoke to Mr. Clancy?
Yes.
Is that in your affidavit? Well, you have it before you. Can you point to a paragraph where you indicate that you got a report directly from Mr. Clancy?
I don't know if it's in the affidavit.
Okay.
But I did interview Mr. Clancy for 90 to 100 minutes.
Now, in relation to kind of going through the medical treatment, you indicate that the defendant reported that she was hesitant about taking medications. Do you recall that in paragraph 11?
Yes.
But you're aware that she sought out a psychiatrist, not a therapist, not a psychotherapist or a psychologist. She sought a psychiatrist as her first contact in the postpartum period, correct?
Correct.
And psychiatrists presumably prescribe medications and don't necessarily offer psychotherapy, do they?
Well, all psychiatrists are trained to do psychotherapy to some extent, at least. But yes, they can also prescribe medication.
And through the records, you learned that the defendant did have reactions to.
There you go. Anastasia said she had a friend who had postpartum psychosis after the birth of her son. She had already had bipolar 1 with delusion, so I'm assuming that was heavily watched through the gestational period. So there was a safety plan in place. She called her dad and her doctor, and she spent a week in the hospital. Okay, that's good. That's good. So they must have been 10 times better doctors than what Lindsay Clancy had.
Low dose of Zoloft. And your testimony is that a blood test would have helped. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
So a blood test that's about 4 or 5 months postpartum, how is that going to help prescribers?
Well, the blood test I was thinking of was you could do a level of the antidepressant in her blood, and that would tell you whether it was average, expected given the dose, or too high or too low.
And that would yield results if a person's only been taking medication for less than a week?
Yes.
But you indicate that over a period of 4 to 6 weeks is when you would expect to see a medication start to take effect, correct?
It sometimes takes that long, yes.
Now, you also spoke a little bit about Zulresso. You're aware from reviewing the records of Jennifer Tufts that she researched Zulresso and spoke about Zulresso, but never made a recommendation to the defendant that she do that injection.
Yes.
You also described that by November 21st, that the defendant was experiencing suggesting symptoms of mania, like racing thoughts. But in fact, the criteria is not just racing thoughts, it's racing thoughts, pressured speech, correct?
There are a number of criteria that are listed, but racing thoughts is one of them, yes.
Okay.
And
you also list, or you identify in your affidavit, extreme insomnia, but for mania, it's not just insomnia, it's that there's insomnia with a decreased need for sleep, correct?
it can be decreased feeling that you need to sleep even if you didn't sleep for several days, but it's also true that some people feel very tired. It's not just one or the other.
You're aware that the defendant denied a decreased need for sleep around that time period in November from the records, aren't you?
All right. Let's talk sleep. Let's talk sleep. What new mother gets a good 8 hours of sleep? How much damn sleep does anyone need? Are you supposed to have a baby and not get up? I mean, I breastfed. Okay, I breastfed, so of course I was up quite a bit. I want to know why they are so hyper-focused on, oh, but she's not sleeping. Oh, but she's not sleeping. Oh, but she's not sleeping. Did anyone think that her schedule had always been working overnights? She worked from 7 at night till 7 in the morning. That was her shift at the hospital. And then she had help to watch the children so she could sleep before she went to work. The internal clock never changed. And so when she had Callan, of course she was up all night. That's the reason they got the nanny. The nanny's going to watch the children so you can sleep. It's hard to change your sleep schedule. It really is. And all of this Remeron and Ambien and all that stuff to help her sleep is something totally different. I mean, this is an amazing thing that's going on. However, I can tell you right now, the best night I've ever had sleeping after having a baby was in the hospital because other people were there to take care of my baby. But still, I was woken up to nurse, and then they would take my son back. But this whole you get home and you're supposed to be able to just lay on your dead ass and sleep, no.
Yeah.
In that period, yes.
You also indicated that in reviewing records pertaining to, I think you noted Jennifer Tufts, that her notes were a series of the record was a series of check boxes, right? That was your testimony?
There are a few sentences, but there are mostly check boxes, yes.
And fair to say, the way in which those notes are created, there are several areas in which notes are placed at different points in those records.
There are notes at certain places, yes.
And those notes are reflective of statements that the defendant was making about her mood and how she was feeling and symptoms, correct?
Yes.
Those are all important things for a treating psychiatrist to consider when they're considering a patient's overall presentation. Is that fair to say?
Yes, fair to say.
Now, you also referenced in your affidavit that the defendant had reported that she had these increased symptoms with Zoloft and didn't sleep for 48 hours after increasing the dose. Remember that in the record?
Yes, from 25 to 50.
And you didn't review any police reports to identify that there were only 7 pills missing from that bottle of sertraline, did you?
I did not review a police report, no.
So if a person takes 7 pills over 1 week period at 25 milligrams, how do they increase the dose without more pills missing from the bottle?
Well, I believe if you took 3 or 4 pills for a few days of 25, then you still would have enough pills to take 2 25s and increase the dose to 50.
Right, but if a prescription reads that if 30 are filled and only 7 are missing from the pill bottle,
That means she didn't take them, you idiot. That means she didn't take them. That means they didn't work for her. Is she not understanding that? You have a 30-day supply, only 7 were missing. She didn't take them. Why is this chick not getting it? This is not an argument. Has anyone ever had a prescription and you're like, that does not work for me, man? I got bumps and hives and rashes on my ass. I am not going to take that. I got to call my doctor and say, this is not working. You're not going to be like questioning, like, why do you take them all? Mindy said, now I only sleep about 4 hours a day. That's like me. I'm not a big sleeper. I don't have the gift of sleep like other people. I just don't. I just don't. I just do not. However, I mean, when someone has a different chemical reaction to a medication they were prescribed, they're going to flat out be like, this isn't working for me. Why is this a question? Freaks? Not you all. I mean, Big Bo.
it's located months later, then if you've taken 7 pills, you've taken 1 pill each day, correct?
Not necessarily. I believe that she stopped taking the medication rather quickly. And I'm not sure which pill bottle you're discussing because, as you said, I didn't review a police report.
Okay. Now, you're aware that on December 15th, that the defendant and her husband reported that she was having persistent intrusive thoughts that day, correct?
Yes.
And that's the day she first presented to Mass General Hospital.
Yes.
And you're aware that Mass General Hospital is directly affiliated with McLean Hospital, right?
They are affiliated, yes.
And that she was advised to go to the inpatient program and she chose not to go.
Yes.
From reviewing the records, did you see how Letitia Dukes, a social worker or a mental health worker, from the South Shore Perinatal Behavioral Health Clinic had previously had discussions with the defendant about going to women and infants before her presentation to the Mass General ER on December 15th?
Yes.
And she didn't, in fact, go to that program until December 20th. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Now, you also mentioned...
You know, this is a good point because Vinnie Politan and a lot of people have said that this woman's actually a very good attorney. Like, she knows her shit and she's putting the facts out for the jurors. Okay. That's what she's doing. So for us watching from home, we have a different lens we're looking through. And so we're just like, she said that. Some people catch some clips. Some people watch it on Court TV. 56 of you are watching it on here right now. But for the jurors, they're there. They took an oath to only consider evidence. Okay, the defense's side is reasonable doubt because it's speculation. True story, it is. The prosecution side is evidence. This is what happened. And remember, they can't read anything. They can't do anything. And they have a way of knowing. How, I don't know. But they have a way of knowing.
Hello, Moto.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, I'm live right now. Can I call you right back?
Oh, shoot, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about Lindsay Clancy. Everyone say hi to my friend Maria. I talk about her all the time.
Hi.
Yep, see, that's Maria right there. Everybody fucking bothering me when I'm just right to a great genius point.
In your review of the medications, lamotrigine, you recall that?
Yes.
And that was a medication that was prescribed to the defendant in December of 2022, correct?
Correct.
You're aware that she never took lamotrigine?
I believe that's what she said, yes.
Now, you also were asked, or you spoke about Seroquel. So you're familiar with the prescriptions or what was prescribed of the Seroquel over the period of time from November 30th through early December, correct?
Yes.
You've reviewed that. And so I think you testified on direct examination that the initial dose was a low dose, 25 milligrams.
Correct.
And you're familiar, that is a fairly common dosage, a low dose to prescribe to address some sleep issues.
It is, yes.
And you're aware that for people who are suspected or have bipolar disorder, that the levels of prescribed are generally much higher than 25 milligrams, right?
Yes, they would be.
They could range anywhere from 100 milligrams to up to,
He knows, dude. All you keep talking to him about is milligrams and prescriptions. He knows. Why are you talking about something that someone else prescribed to her when he is the after murder doctor? She talked to two of them that way. All right, you guys, I think this has been a great show, and I really appreciate you guys getting up with the chickens to talk to me before the trial starts. Now, I have an amazing show planned. I planned to do it at 9 a.m. today, my time, but I want to watch the trial, and I've got some things to do, and I promise I will get to it. I've got the thumbnail and everything made, and we will do it. It's about another case that I really want to pick your brain about that happened back in the early 80s. It's about Francine Hughes that put gasoline on her husband and lit him on fire. Okay? But I want to see how this attorney wraps it up today. And then, of course, as you all know, we're going to be on Verdict Watch. And I will catch you in Discord. I'm always available because you know what? You guys are my besties. Bestie for the restie. So you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll hang with you over in Discord. Or see you back here tomorrow morning. Love ya.